In this module, we want to talk about one of the most important predictors of child outcome, one of the most important predictors of whether or not our attempts at changing the behavior of a child are successful, and one of the predictors of long-term outcomes in children, especially those who've come from hard places. We want to talk about mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is called by many names in different forms of literature. It's a sort of attunement between a caregiver and a child. It is a sort of being completely emotionally present. It is a type of giving full attention to the situation, including to yourself, the environment, and the other. But in every case, mindfulness is distilled down to the capacity to be present in the moment and aware. Now, that capacity to be aware in the moment can be considered in several aspects. One could be awareness of yourself, the other person in this situation. Now, I will elaborate more in a moment. One aspect of mindfulness is being calm and present. We'd call it calm presence. Another aspect of mindfulness is the ability to be flexible in response, so flexible responding. And then finally, creative problem solving. Now, let's think about these pieces individually. Awareness is the first component of mindfulness. That means that I am aware of myself. I am aware of my feelings, my emotions. I am aware of my history and how it might cause me to experience different environmental situations differently. And I'm aware of those things not only historically, but in the moment. So in the last few hours, have I been feeling more tired, more sad, more lonely? So when I come to an interaction with a child or another adult, I am aware of what I bring not only from my history, but what I bring from the last few hours. So we have a historical awareness, and then we have a current awareness. When I'm with, for example, a child or adolescent, I am aware of that child's history. I'm aware of where they've been from early years of development, but I'm also aware of where they've been in the last few hours. Has this been a long day, a hard day? Are they overly tired? Are they sad about something? Were they stressed by a test or by some event in the family? One of the practices that we try to teach people that we work with is to be laser focused, for example, on the child, and to be mindfully aware. When, for example, they begin to be stressed, do their pupils dilate? So I'm looking at their eyes. Is their jaw tightening? That's one of the muscles that tightens with fight, flight, or freeze. Is their breathing shallow now? Have their hands become tight, sort of pulling into fists? Those are called effexor muscles, and that tells me this child is feeling a need to run or to react. Fight, flight, or freeze systems have taken place. If I, for example, just become aware of pupil dilation, I can get an early signal that this child is beginning to feel something I may not have intended them to feel. They may be beginning to feel fearful, and they may have to begin to react to that fear. So I'm mindful not only of myself, aware of myself, I'm aware of the child, and I'm aware of the situation and the environment. So, for example, what's going on with that child? Is there something in the situation that is a trigger? Is there something in the environment that is too loud? Is there something in the environment that is overwhelming? And so where the child, like you'd see in this diagram, may have sort of a cloud, a dark cloud over them, if they get distressed, they might not know exactly that they're reliving a historical event. but they may be coming into dark thinking, dark reasoning that eludes from them or omits their capacity to see what they're feeling is about something historical. And that's the job of the adult, to say, is this about my history, the way that I'm feeling? Is this about this child's history? And how do I meet this child's needs by being aware of them, of myself, and of the environment? Another component of mindfulness that we would see in this kind of a situation, this adult, for example, would be practiced at being present, calm and present, not reactive, but responsive. So this adult is planting their feet. They're breathing deeply. This adult has the wherewithal to be aware of the child's need. This adult may or may not be aware of a scientific principle, but if they're calm, if we remain calm in these situations, we're actually able to draw on something that scientists discovered in the mid-1990s, called mirror neurons. So if a child is beginning to be dysregulated, and I am emotionally present and regulated, I can actually activate those regions of that child's brain simply by staying calm and emotionally present, called calm presence. So as I breathe deeply, I plant my feet, I become aware of tension in my body, and I breathe and I stay present. I can actually activate mirror neurons that as the child looks into my eyes and watches my behavior, that child can draw from that strength and that presence in me and can begin to be present as well. Another aspect of mindfulness is flexible responding. My colleague, Dr. Cross, calls it the capacity to do improv. And that means that I don't go into a situation with a determined outcome. This happens, so this has to happen. But rather, I go with the goal. I need this child to be connected to me and to be successful. And I need to teach them the skill that they need for living. And so how can I do that? Well, as you watch the children change their strategies, we have to be able to adapt and change our strategies. You would see this with a caregiver, a biological mother or father, and a newborn child that's upset. The longer the baby cries, the parent may go through a whole repertoire of calming strategies to bring that child back to a sense of relaxation. So the caregiver may change strategies by going into rocking or patting or singing, or I've had some parents say that, I will rock them really firmly and hold them tight and snuggled against me and just do a kind of a shh, calming shushing sound. Now for some of our kids, that's not calming. But the person, the adult that is flexible in their responding can see very quickly, is this effective or not effective? And as the child changes strategies, the caregiver can change strategies, and the caregiver can do creative problem solving, where if you watch a child who's come from a hard place, they've learned how to survive by their wits. And they have many, many strategies. Well, the goal for us is not to squash their strategies, but to help them trust us, to help them solve the situation and get their needs met in appropriate ways. So as they change their strategies, we have to be able to be flexible in responding. As their demeanor changes, we have to be flexible in responding. As their strategies change and as the situation changes, we have to be able to be creative and flexible. We're looking for a win-win in which the adult is able to bring restoration of calm, presence, and a solution to the issue at hand, but where the child is not feeling threatened or bashed or unsafe, but where the child has become our partner in solving this issue that's at hand. So mindfulness begins with being self-aware, and then aware of the child in front of us or youth, aware of the environment or the circumstances. For that adult to be able to remain calm so that it's clear that this response that we have is not about the child, it's not against the child, but it is rather we have to solve this problem together. That adult would want to be flexible in their ability to respond. That sense of improv, this child said this, and so I'm going to build on this, and I'm going to say that. I think when my colleague talks about improv, he says that the one rule of improv is that you always build on what went before. So if the person you're improvising with changes their movements, their actions, their attitude, their tone, their words, we're flexible in responding in kind, in a way that meets that child's needs. And then finally, that we're creative in problem solving. And when we're creative and we work together with this child or youth, it's clear to them that we're not there to solve the behavior, but we're there to support them and to help them learn with our support how to solve the need that is under the behavior. Mindfulness is the most powerful practice that a parent or caregiver, that a teacher can do. Mindfulness is a skill that as we practice it will become learned through our example by those children and youth that we serve. In the moments that follow now, we want to show you a clip, and we want to develop with you a way to look at mindfulness in pragmatics. Now, this clip is a clip of a child who's actually a very high-risk child. This child has actually had hospitalizations. She's actually on antipsychotic drugs for some harm that she experienced prior to her adoption. She is in every way an at-risk child. We want to look at the way that we would score behaviors and the way that we would think about these episodes. Now, there are a number of episodes where this 2.5-minute clip will stop and dip to black, and we'll show you the episodes, and then we'll stop after each episode and we'll score. Now, you have a downloadable sheet that you may want to pause this module and print that sheet off so that you can follow with us. The goal of this activity is to help you develop insight about what's going on in terms of TBRI principles, but more importantly, how the mindful practices support a positive behavioral outcome. It's not just using a skill set that might be TBRI skills, but it is about being present in the moment and being aware, being flexible, and being creative in how to help this little girl who's 8 years old and very high risk come to a resolution. Now, what has begun, she's been in a small group doing deep breathing activities, and I was going to do a drawing activity with her. So I invite her to draw with me. She's very excited about drawing, and all of a sudden she's become mercurial. She's walking away from me and is non-responsive. I don't know what happened. I have a few suspicions, but I'm not sure what happened. So in this first episode, you'll see this beautiful child named Alexis as I call her and try to engage her in this activity. Alexis. Alexis, come here, darling. Alexis, come here, please. Alexis, come here, please.
Was that there before? No.
Alexis. Alexis. Say yes, please. So in this clip, if you look at what's going on, there's a movie showing and she's gone to look at the movie. So there's a transition. So put a 1 there for this is the first episode. And in number 1, there's a transition between activities. And that transition is what we know is going to be a challenge point for our children. So there's a transition that's occurring. If you look at correcting principles, you'll find that I'm doing the ideal response. She's walked away from me, and so I call her. She doesn't come, so I call her a little more firmly. Then I go directly to her, so the ideal response for direct, and then efficient. I'm still using a low-level voice. And I hope that she can tell that I'm there about her behavior, but that she's precious to me still. Now, I'm still a little bit playful with her, but I'm beginning to be structured. So you'll see these things as they emerge over time. But let's look at the connecting principles. So I'm making eye contact with this child. I'm using an authoritative tone. I haven't touched her because, as you know, a child who's in an elevated agitation, if you touch them, they're likely to react negatively. But I am matching her. I'm standing in front of her, looking into her eyes. I'm working to be playful, but I'm not going to be able to be as playful because she's already rejected me walking away. I hope that you'll see some situational awareness. I know something has happened. I don't know what. My tone is firm, but I'm still calm and aware. So those things I would be aware of. And you may have checked others or maybe not all of those. But let's look now at the second clip in this scenario.
It's not okay to ignore no one and to go to you. You need to come there, and if you want to watch the movie, you need to ask me for a compromise. Okay? It's not okay.
I'm watching the movie.
Let's try it again with respect.
I'm watching the movie.
Okay, but I called you and said come here, and you walked away from me. Now I'm gonna go over there and call you, and I want you to come to me, and then you can say, can I please watch the movie? Okay? But it's not okay just to ignore me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, what? Hey. All right.
So in that episode, you're going to see that there's a good bit of situational awareness because I realize there's a lot of noise in the room. And this child doesn't do well with a lot of noise. So you should be putting maybe a 2 there for the mindful awareness, for mindfulness with situational awareness. Also, I'm remaining calm, and I'm going to be asking her for a behavioral redo. So if you look at the episode in terms of correcting principles, again, I'm asking her, I'm giving her choices. So I'm saying, you could stay here, but you're going to have to ask me if you want to stay here. It's not okay just to ignore me. You'll see that I'm still being efficient with the ideal response. I'm still engaged with her and direct. I hope that she's aware that my interactions with her are leveled at her behavior, but not at her. Now I'm still more structured in my responding, but I'm going to ask her to come be with me and do a behavioral redo. So there's an invitation here now for a redo. In all of this, though, I am maintaining valuing eye contact and an authoritative tone. Now, I have not touched her, but I've given symbolic touch. So I touched under her chin, but it's a symbolic touch. I am still matching her and trying to be creative in problem solving. I'm trying to give her options. Now, you saw some flexible responding where I said, yes, yes, ma'am, and she said, yes, and then I waited. I was trying to give her a chance to respond, knowing that she couldn't respond with the kind of immediacy that I needed from her because she's in the beginning of a meltdown. So let's look at the third segment and see what's going on with the segment 3.
Let's go back over and try it. All right. So act like you're walking away and I'll call you back. Alexis, please come here, Doc. Oh, that was nice. Not exactly a respectful attitude, but good. Oh, listening. Now, do you want to compromise? Let me see your eyes, darling. Can you tell me what's going on?
I want to watch the movie.
Okay, now look at me. Look at me. I'm going to listen to you, but it's not okay to just not listen to me, okay? Okay. Do you rather not draw today?
I do.
Do you want to draw? Okay, I'm getting colors, and then I'll come get you from the movie. Do you want to watch the movie till then, or do you want to help me get the colors?
I want to watch the movie.
Okay. You don't have to draw if you don't. Oh, you okay? You don't want
What
to
do
draw?
we have to draw, though?
You don't have to draw anything. I was just going to draw with you because I like to draw, and I thought you did too.
I do, but I don't want to draw right now.
You don't have to.
So in this section, what you're going to see is again value eye contact. You're going to see an authoritative tone, although now my tone is softer because I've got compliance. You saw symbolic touch until she fell, and then when she fell, I gave her a firm touch on her shoulder and then a touch on her chin so that she knew I was there for her. I'm matching her, and now my tone has gone back to being more playful. So I'm more playful in my interaction with her. Now, again, I'm aware of the situation. I'm aware she's overwhelmed. I am, again, calm and being present with her and trying to be creative in problem solving. I'm trying to give her options, also being flexible. So you can do this or you can do that, but it's not okay to just walk away from me. Now, if you look at life value terms, I'm trying to show her that she can use her words and ask for what she needs. I'm trying to ask her to talk to me with respect. I'm trying to show her that we want her to listen and obey when we ask her to do something. But I'm also giving her power for choices. I'm giving her power for compromises. And you'll see that we did a redo. Now, again, I hope that you'll see that I was engaged. I hope that, again, that you'll see that I was efficient in how much force or how much interaction I used, involvement, and that she got to do the action-based redo. Again, I hope you'll see that what I do with her is leveled at her behavior. Now, there's structured engagement. There's also some calming engagement where I'm kind of pulling her under my wing. I'm going to keep her with me until she's solid again. So, in a sense, I'm doing a calming engagement with this child. Of interest, what you'll see is that even in the midst of correcting, there is a great deal of connecting going on. So let's look at the final episode in this challenge from this little girl and see what we can find.
So, what I understand is,
Can I turn these lights off?
it's nice asking, sure. Oh, it got kind of dark. I might go to sleep. Okay, so you're gonna practice that one more time like you're walking away and I called you and came right back?
Okay.
Say, oh, hey, Alexis, would you come here, please? Oh, now that's what I love. Give me 5. Woo-hoo. All right, go watch the movie and I'll see you in a little bit.
Now, a lot of people are surprised by this clip in many ways. Some people are surprised that this child got up and followed me out in the second episode when I told her I was going to be correcting her. And a lot of people are surprised that I let her turn off the light when I'm in the middle of behavioral correction. But the truth is, letting her turn off the light is flexible responding. My beef was not about the light. My beef was about her walking away from me. And so what you'll see is I let this child turn out the light, and that was when I began to get traction with her for behavior. I'm doing, again, the creative problem solving with her. I'm trying to change my strategies based on what she knows and can do. I'm, again, calm in interactions with the child and aware of the noise and the chaos and actually her history. Now my voice is more playful again. I'm still doing behavioral matching. Now there's more healthy touch. And my tone still has authority, but it's a softer, warmer tone because the danger has passed. Always you see a great deal of eye contact. Now, if you look down at the actual correcting principles, I'm giving her capacity to use her words. She's talking to me with more and more respect without me even asking for it. And I've got a great deal of obedience and compliance from her. The choices, there were some choices that she made, and she made a compromise, but she did the redo. And the redo was an action-based redo. Now, I wasn't done with this child until she was solid again. So I'm being efficient, I'm being engaged, I'm giving her a chance for redo, and I'm letting her know this is not about her preciousness, but about the behavior. And we're doing creative problem solving together. Again, I'm playful. There is structure. There is calming. Again, in this situation, what you'll see is that even when we're doing the greatest level of correcting, we're doing the greatest level of connecting. So when you look at the levels of response at the bottom of the score sheet, look at the term. Level 1 response is playful engagement. A level 2 response is structured engagement. A level 3 response is calming engagement. And a level 4 is protective engagement. The common denominator in all of those is the word engagement. We are looking to engage this child and bring them, as we would say, up under our wings so we can teach them and keep them safe. I believe that you'll see that this child's needs were deeply met. I believe that you will see that she went away feeling very powerfully empowered with a win-win solution. And we met her needs. We gave her compromises. And we gave her voice. So even in the midst of the most important correcting, connection is still our goal. Now, I think it's important for you to know when you look at this clip that this is a very high-risk child and that she has capacity when there's overcorrection. She has capacity to fall completely apart and to become virtually psychotic. In the next set of explorations, we want to look at another set of principles and how they play out for this child in this circumstance. We want to look at how high the sense of these states is. So what we're asking is, how high is our bar for these situations with a child? And what you'll see is how high my bar for expectation and challenge is going to be a big predictor of whether the child can get back on the train. You will hear us say in our work, we are looking for the little caboose to be connected, and then we can pick up traction. But I have to make it possible for that child to participate. So let's watch these same 4 episodes again, and let's score them on these 4 levels. So first, watch for felt safety, self-regulation, connection, and then how much challenge am I giving her? How high is the challenge in each of these situations? So felt safety, her ability to regulate, the level of connection that is between us during this time, and the level of challenge. What is the level of challenge? So we always say we have two bars for these situations. One bar is what we know of the child's history, and the other bar is what we know of what's happened in the last couple of hours. So knowing this child's history and knowing that she's also a little overwhelmed, how high will my bar be for challenge? How high will the connection be? How high will her capacity be for regulation? And how high will her sense of safety be? Clip 1.
Alexis. Alexis, come here, darling. Alexis, come here, please. Alexis, come here, please. Alexis. Alexis. Miss Yaz, please.
Okay, so in this first clip, if you look at the level of challenge, I mean, I would have liked her to be with me and come to me, but she didn't respond. So I lowered the bar. That was a pretty low bar. She couldn't come to me. I went to her. So I would say that that was a pretty low level on my ability to give her a challenge. On my connection to her, you know, her experience of connection to me, I think, was fairly low. And so I had to go to her again. She couldn't come to me. If you look at her ability to self-regulate, I think that we saw she was unable to regulate herself. She needed a safe, calm adult to help her regulate. And I'm guessing that her sense of safety was not very high because she was not able to stay with me and do the thing that I asked her to do. So really there's a pretty low level of challenge by me. Her sense of connection, regulation, and safety are also pretty low. Let's look at the second clip.
It's not okay to ignore me when I talk to you. You need to come there, and if you don't want to, if you want to watch the movie, you need to ask me for a compromise. Okay? It's not okay.
I'm watching the movie.
Let's try it again with respect.
I'm watching the movie.
Okay, but I called you and said come here, and you walked away from me. Now I'm gonna go over there and call you, and I want you to come to me, and then you can say, can I please watch the movie? Okay? But it's not okay just to ignore me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, what? Hey. All right.
Now again, you'll see that I'm lowering my bar quite a bit. This little girl can't give me as much as I'd like for her to give me, but I do get a little bit of respect when I ask her to do it to say that with respect, to try it again with respect. I still don't think she feels too connected, but she's starting to give me a little bit of words. She's still not able to regulate by herself, but I'm going to bring her and tuck her under wing and help her regulate. And my belief is that her sense of safety, she still feels pretty out of control, I think. And I'm not sure that this child feels safe yet. So let's look at the third clip.
Let's go back over and try it. All right. So act like you're walking away and I'll call you back. Alexis, please come here, Doc. Oh, that was nice. Not exactly a respectful attitude, but good. Oh, listening. Now, do you want to compromise? Let me see your eyes, darling. Can you tell me what's going on?
I want to watch the movie.
Okay, now look at me. Look at me. I'm going to listen to you, but it's not okay to just not listen to me, okay? Okay. Do you rather not draw today?
I do.
Do you want to draw? Okay, I'm getting colors, and then I'll come get you from the movie. Do you want to watch the movie till then, or do you want to help me get the colors?
I want to watch the movie.
Okay. You don't have to draw if you don't. Oh, you okay? You don't want
What
to
do we have to draw, though?
You don't have to draw anything. I was just going to draw with you because I like to draw, and I thought you did too.
I do, but I don't want to draw right now.
You don't have to.
So in this situation, what you'll see is that the challenge is a little higher. I've asked her for a redo, and she's given it to me, and now I'm challenging her a little more. It's not a very impressive redo, but it is the beginnings of a redo. I think she's actually feeling a little more connected to me. You saw, and many adults were amazed that when I said, come with me, that she did. So clearly she's beginning to feel a little more connected, and I think she's feeling a little more self-control and self-regulation because now she's helping me solve problems. What we know for kids with histories from hard places is that as they feel safe, they're going to be able to be more and more functional. And I think this child is feeling more safe. I've given her choices, I've given her compromises. And so what we see is this upward trajectory where as I'm able to modify what I ask of her and ask her what I believe she can give me, so I'm being creative in problem solving and flexible in my responses to her, and aware that she is a high-risk child and could be volatile, she's able to give me more and more and more. And so let's watch this final clip again.
So, what I understand is,
Can I turn these lights off?
it's nice asking, sure. Oh, it got kind of dark. I might go to sleep. Okay, so you're gonna practice that one more time like you're walking away and I called you and came right back? Say, oh, hey, Alexis, would you come here, please? Oh, now that's what I love. Give me 5. Woo-hoo. All right, go watch the movie and I'll see you in a little bit.
This is, as we say in our work, pay dirt, where we kept that child tucked under wing long enough to be able to meet some needs. Now, fortunately, she fell off of the pillows, and I was able to express concern for her. That's the first time I touched her, and I touched her. I believe that she's feeling more safe. I touched her chin then when I talked to her. I believe that she's feeling more solid. I didn't scold her. I didn't reprimand her, but I was concerned about her. And so I believe that she's feeling an increase in her sense of safety. She's able to now be able to give me a very impressive redo. I believe that she's feeling much more capacity to regulate, and so she's also feeling more and more connected to me. And my challenge has gotten higher and higher. So I got little bit. We talk about this in terms of getting traction. Now, it's interesting, a lot of parents and adults, teachers and caregivers in other environments want to ask the highest bar, but what you'll see is if you look at the checklist about the connecting principles, that my primary goal was to stay connected to her, that my primary goal was to be aware of what was going on with her. And then what you'll see is that I started with this very low-level challenge, and I only asked her for what I thought I could give her, but I wasn't finished until she was successful. And she was more connected to me than she had been before. She was able to begin to self-regulate, and she knows not only that she's precious, but that with us she is safe. These are all powerful gifts for any child or youth that we serve. This is the heart of mindfulness. Successful correcting of behavior doesn't come out of behavioral reprimands. It comes out of deeply attuned, deeply connected, deeply aware caregiving that can stay emotionally and physically present during the challenge, and that can bring the child to a place of regulatory safety and of felt safety. This is the goal of mindfulness.